This is the new Poco 888 Pro Max. If you're a fan of value-for-money smartphones, you probably know them very well. These are phones whose main feature is delivering high-end performance while costing the same as a mid-range or even budget device. And in this case, it's not just the performance that's high-end, it packs an 8,500 mAh battery, 100W fast charging with the charger included, a 120Hz OLED display, high-quality stereo sound, and even aluminum finishes. The phone is priced at $416, so come along and watch the video where I show you everything. Let's start quickly with the unboxing. This is the box you'll receive it in. We open it, and here we have a small yellow box. Inside, you'll find the SIM ejector tool, some manuals, and a black plastic case. Underneath, we'll find the USB cable, and we also have the 100W charger, and over here is the phone. From the moment you pick it up, it really feels like a very high-quality device. The edges have a metallic finish, it's slim, but at the same time has a nice weight to it, like a solid, well-built, and well-assembled phone. Here on the front, in a punch-hole notch, we have the selfie camera, and right here on the display, we also have the fingerprint reader, which works really well. On the top, we have one of the two speakers, and on the bottom, we have the second speaker. On the right side, we have the volume buttons and the power button, which, if you notice, has a small red accent detail around it. At the bottom, we have the USB port and also the SIM tray, which supports 2 nano SIMs. On the left side, there's absolutely nothing, and on the back, in my case, I have the white version, but there are other colors available. As you can see, it has a simple design, nothing too flashy, and the finish is plastic. The camera module is simple, but has a little surprise. LGBT lights that you can configure for notifications when you're listening to music, and also for gaming. And of these two holes you see here, one is the flash and the other is an infrared sensor that you can use as a remote control for a TV, an air conditioner, a washing machine, I don't know. There are many things you can configure here, and it works perfectly. And since we're talking about design, let's move on to the display. It's a 6/8 3-inch AMOLED panel with one 5K resolution, a 120Hz refresh rate, and very strong brightness. This is a display you could easily find on a high-end phone and be very happy with it. For enjoying multimedia content, you won't have any issues, trust me. It looks really good. You can enjoy your movies, your YouTube videos, Orange YouTube, your games, your photos, basically everything looks great with excellent quality and color definition. It has very strong brightness, so you'll be able to use it outdoors without any problems. If you're always out and about, this won't let you down. And indoors, it's even better. You can keep the brightness low most of the time to save battery. As for the refresh rate, it runs at 120 frames per second. You can set it to 60, use an automatic smart mode that switches between 60 and 120 as needed, or a manual mode where you choose which apps run at 120 and which don't. Complementing this wonderful display is the dual stereo speaker sound. They are fairly large speakers that deliver strong volume, but it's not just loudness, they also have very good quality, so much so that you can even hear a bit of bass in songs. I'm not saying you'll hear a subwoofer, but the sound doesn't feel as flat as on other devices. It actually sounds really good. Another strong point of this device is its battery. It comes with an 8,500 mAh unit, which is well above normal. The duration depends on each person's usage. You'll easily get 2, maybe even 3 days. And if you're a very basic user, up to 5 days. We also have ultra-fast 100-watt charging. Here it was at 9%, I plugged it in, and you can even see how the percentage quickly goes up. I set a timer, and half an hour later, it was already at 78%. And according to the estimate on the screen, it needed 13 more minutes to reach 100%, meaning a full charge from 0 to 100 takes between 45 and 50 minutes. And now let's move on to performance. In my case, I have the 12GB version with 256GB of storage, and the processor is a Dimensity 9500S. With these specs, it scored 2,857,000 points on the Antutu benchmark. This score is extremely high, and with that much power, daily use becomes very easy. You can run any app, whether it's your banking apps, your social media, your Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, even apps like video editing or heavier applications. Let's go straight to testing it with games. The phone has an app called Game Turbo, which lets you choose the power profile and also gives you other tools like adjusting touch sensitivity, clearing memory, disabling notifications, screen recording, adding timers, and even modifying your voice if you're in a voice chat. For these tests, I used a cooler to get the most out of it. We start with Call of Duty, which which you can set to max graphics and max frame rate at 120. It ran perfectly smooth at 120 frames per second without any drops. And honestly, even though I had the cooler, you could totally use it without one. It wasn't really necessary. It barely heated up. The second game I decided to test was PUBG. This one allowed two different configurations, one with Ultra HDR graphics and extreme frame rate, which is basically 60 frames. It ran without any issues at 60 frames per second, and obviously the quality looks spectacular. But if you want more frames per second, you had to lower the quality a bit to HDR. And an option called Extreme Plus appears. I thought it would be 120 frames per second, but no, it's capped at 90 frames per second. Even so, at this quality, at 90 frames, it ran without any problems, no drops, perfectly smooth, and it still looks really good. The next game I decided to test is Minecraft. Minecraft itself is a relatively light game, but when it detects you have a powerful phone, it automatically enables vibrant graphics, which are like a kind of higher quality shader, making Minecraft a very demanding and heavy game. If you set everything to max, you'll hardly go above 30 to 35 frames per second. It feels very laggy, but the reflections in the water get enabled. The shadows look incredible. The lighting, it really looks amazing, but it becomes unplayable. Here you have to tweak the graphic settings a bit, lower them so they're not as high in order to maintain 60 frames per second. I tried to get more frames per second by lowering all the graphics, but something really strange happened here that also happened to me with the next game. I don't know why, but the game was capped at 60 frames per second, and it wasn't the game or a lack of power. The phone had more than enough power, and the game lets you configure everything. But it seemed like there was a small bug with the 120 frames per second setting. Remember I told you that in display settings you can choose which apps support 120 frames per second and which don't? Well, the phone has some kind of automatic mode where some apps run at 120 and others at 60, and I feel like it's more of a bug. Minecraft was capped at 60 frames per second, preventing you from taking advantage of the 120 Hz display. I tried every possible setting: enabled, disabled, manual mode, automatic mode, and there was no way to get past that limit. Then we moved on to the next game, Fortnite, and the exact same thing happened as with Minecraft. I set the graphics to max, frame rate to 120 frames per second, but it was still limited to 60 frames per second. It's not that the phone lacked power. I insist something in the settings was limiting it. I'm sure they'll fix this bug soon since the phone just launched, and I guarantee it has more than enough power to run Fortnite at 120 frames per second. Still, it looked amazing at 60 frames per second. The last game I tested was Genshin Impact. I set it to max graphics, and since it's naturally capped at 60, it ran locked at 60 frames per second. No issues, no drops. Definitely a super powerful phone, and even though it's very powerful, the area where they usually cut back a bit is the cameras, which is understandable. They need to reduce costs to keep it competitive, and at the same time, these phones are usually bought by people who will use them for gaming or raw performance, not for taking selfies. Even so, if you want to take decent quality photos, this is more than enough. The camera is 50 megapixels, you can take nice pictures, and with good lighting, they come out great. Video can be recorded in 4K at 60 frames per second and works perfectly. The selfie camera also performs very well. They're not the best cameras, they oversaturate colors a bit, but they look good. Lastly, just to mention, its operating system is Android 16, the latest of the latest, and the custom UI is called Xiaomi Hyper OS. If you've used a Xiaomi before, it's basically the same. You get tons of settings, you can change themes, icons, how the menu looks. You also have features like this dynamic island where you can place notifications or the media player. And since it's 2026 and AI is booming, this phone doesn't miss out on that either. You have a tool to generate text, to process text, you have a call translator, you have tools to translate any video, you can record voice notes, and then create text summaries from those voice notes. For example, if you record a class, to edit images, you can expand images, you have a magic eraser, background remover, you can even take a photo and then animate it to use it as wallpaper. The only downside of the Xiaomi operating system is that you already know. It comes loaded with a lot of applications, many that show ads, and many of these cannot be uninstalled. Let's say that would be the cost-benefit disadvantage. Lastly, to mention that in connectivity, you have Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth, GPS, NFC, and in mobile networks up to 4G, and, well, friends, more or less. This device, without a doubt, is a very powerful device, highly recommended and not very expensive. As I always say, you have the final word. Tell me in the comments what you think about this device, which other phone is better than this one, or which one you would like to have. I'll leave it here. See you in the next one.